Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we do need to talk about, well, Battlegrounds. This is borderline a mandatory video at this point to make, I suppose, because there have been a ton of requests and people asking about it, as well as a handful of content creators have published videos about it. And truth be told, I kind of wanted to avoid the subject because every time I do make a video of this sort, I get constant shoutouts that, quit the game if you don't like it. Why are you playing it if you hate it? And this guy only whines about things and stuff like that. So, for the most part, I really don't enjoy or want to make videos of this type. But at the same time, it is getting quite bad with Battlegrounds, and every single season that passes by, effectively, I feel like, and unless Kabam does something very special for Battlegrounds, and every 5 or 6 seasons they add in like a fairly significant chunk of extra rewards, or tie in deathless pieces to the BGs when people do end up pushing the Gladiator circuit more, or something of the sort. Effectively, Battlegrounds, I feel like, are losing more and more steam and enthusiasm, and it has definitely culminated up until now, to a point where I was absolutely shocked the last 2 months when Kabam didn't do anything to Battlegrounds. They didn't update any of the rewards. The only thing that they did in the last few seasons is go back to 2 metas per season, but it's not like that's a huge revolutionary thing, because we used to have 4 metas, then we had 2, and then they went to 1 because they got even lazier, and then they are up to 2 now. Who knows, maybe we'll go back up to 4. But we're going to discuss that a bit later. But it is quite obvious and evident that, people are displeased with the situation in Battlegrounds. And first few comments kind of illustrate a lot of the problems here immediately. Just remember that last year, milestone rewards update in Battlegrounds was 2023. It was season 12. That's like a year and a half ago. That's unacceptable. That's like bullshit. Like a year and a half ago, did we have rank 3s? Maybe a few. That's it. Like rank 3s were just in a game, to a point where rank 3s now are the standard of the game, right? A year and a half ago. Jesus Christ. And there's also a very good comment from Joker here. The problem is full scope. It's in almost all game modes. Just look how long a win quest. Exactly, like Battlegrounds is not the only place where these rewards issues and a lot of staleness stay in place, because there's obviously a lot more. The difference is, I would say, that stuff like event quest, it's significantly less central to the game itself, and definitely to the replayability. Like, even if event quest is updated, we play through it in a couple of days, and then that's it for the rest of the month. But Battlegrounds is something that you can play all the time at any given time. As long as Battlegrounds is in good shape and people are enjoying Battlegrounds, it feels like there's always something to do in the game, or there's always something worth doing in the game. But obviously the issue extends much further than Battlegrounds. It goes without doubt. But the health of, and let's face it, Battlegrounds are the central game mode of this game now. Battlegrounds is what affects, people ranking up champions, what often dictates how the game in general feels, aside from like some major new content releases like Epoch. And yeah, Battlegrounds is, what completely changed the way we see champions. For instance, before Battlegrounds, hardly any of us ever would thought of ranking up Korg, unless you did it for BG Alliance, for your Battle Group Alliance or defense. But there was like 1 in 10 people who had Korg ranked up. Hardly anybody ranked up, many of the defenders basically. And if you did, it was almost solely for Alliance or defense. Now you kind of want to do it, right? And there's quite a lot of discussion happening here. And Big Blue Ox, somebody that I often highlight here as well. My personal interest in the game has always never been lower. At the high end of the game, it really feels like things are dying. But maybe that's the current design goal. They only fix things that aren't broken and let the broken things break more. Honestly, it's like being more in Titanic right now. watch the ship head straight for the iceberg. And that is a sentiment shared by a lot of people, unfortunately, because again, with every update, I do see and hear more and more people just kind of dip out, step back, retire, not to return. I lost a lot of my viewers in the last couple of months as well, who have, DM'd me saying like, don't want to play anymore. And again, a lot of this does indeed come specifically from the Battlegrounds game mode. And it is such a shame because it really isn't hard to make Battlegrounds feel a lot better. And I do have some points written down here, which I do think are the most worthy and notable here to talk, and effectively kind of like breaks down the entire problem. And the first and foremost is definitely the rewards. Again, as mentioned last time, the real rank and objective and milestone rewards were buffed in like 2023. And if there's one thing that is, absolutely certain with Marvel Coins of Champions players, we will tolerate a whole lot of bullshit if the rewards are good enough. If the rewards are good enough, obviously there will be people who complain about anything and everything else, and there always are, and that's fine. But at large, community just tears through all the crap just to get the rewards. If the rewards do feel like something extremely meaningful that you are in fact chasing, then rest, we will be annoyed by, we might complain here and there. For most of us, we'll take part, we're going to play the game, we're going to be engaged. If the rewards do not feel like you're progressing, then, well, nothing really happens, right? And if we are looking at the rewards here, they are quite brutal, even like C5 level. So you're one of the first top 100 players in the game, and you get like 2,500 Titan shards. You get that from like a monthly event pretty much, or just about. You get like less than a 7-star. Don't even get like a 6-star relic, not that anybody cares much about it. And you get some Battlegrounds tokens. But go to the Battlegrounds store and there's like a lot of stuff missing from there. The only thing there that we do have is tier 4 alpha fragments, not a huge amount. But tier 6 CC is significantly more common now. Everything else there is kind of okay. Useful for most people, unless you're like a mega whale. But if the real chase item there is only tier 4 alpha. And it's bad. Last, I think, several seasons, I didn't even make a Battlegrounds rewards opening video because just there is absolutely nothing worthwhile recording. You typically you get like a 7-star crystal from all the rewards combined, and not even a Titan crystal. Is it worthy of a video? No. And that in itself speaks volumes. If your central game mode, for somebody who, pushes hard, ranks highly in like all of the Alliance event, in the solo event, in, C5 in one of the top 100 spots in the game, all of that doesn't come together to even be worth recording an opening video. That's a massive problem. And Kabam, first things first, Kabam has to absolutely urgently buff the rewards, like pronto. Like, if they do not buff the rewards in the next update, there's just going to be, first of all, a ton of people leaving, but second of all, a whole new sea wave of complaints and videos being made. Because it is getting absolutely ridiculous, meme-worthy at this point. So the rewards is definitely a massive problem. It's not just the BGs though. Again, the rewards in Alliance Quest. AQ rewards do not involve tier 4 alpha. Only once a month when we do have, or basically don't involve tier 4 alpha. Only once a month in raids you can get like 1 tier 4 alpha, but that at this point should be tier 7 basic, for instance. The only rewards that do get frequently updated are Alliance War rewards. And they are only obviously good if you place up highly as an alliance. Side quests, fine, you kind of do it just to go through the motions. Event quests, most of the people have abandoned at this point. Incursions, you only kind of do the saga incursions, but even saga incursions right now, do not feel like they're that great value for time investment. they were when they initially came out like a year ago with the same rewards again, but they're definitely not right now. And I'm not even going to talk about like the daily events and, the summoner engagement and summoner advancement. All of this is just shit. Like, all of them are so outdated. Spot 1 to 10, you get 1 6-star crystal for being like one of the 10 most active alliances in the game. Kabam has completely fallen asleep at the wheel here, with no question. Now, moving on. Obviously, the issue with Battlegrounds is made significantly more unbearable by generic game issues. And that is a massive part of it as well. Because if I miss an intercept in a quest, it's one thing, Typically, it has no real major consequence. Typically, I'm going to miss an intercept in a quest, I'll still survive and I'll finish the fight with slightly less health, or even if I get KO'd, I'm just going to bring in one of the other champions I have along with me. If I really don't want to use any items, I can restart the quest, or if I don't care about the revive here and there, I can use revive. But effectively, there is no real cost to it. Aside from, me being slightly annoyed. But all of these issues, such as, game lag on dust on her sandstorm and whatnot, the intercepts, the AI completely kind of gliding through you, the AI doing insane, impossible things, and AI in general just being absolutely awful. Everywhere else, or in most places in the game, it doesn't have major consequence. In competitive game modes, it freaking does. And all it takes for a couple of these episodes to occur in like significant moment, and your entire kind of Battlegrounds session's ruined. Like, because of these situations, I myself, have ended up tilting by like 100 and 200 points just because I'm like boiling mad. There are a lot of times when I have planned to stream for like 2 hours or hour and 50, something in the region of 2 hours, and I just finish the stream in about an hour because I am raging mad at the game. And sometimes it's my fault, sometimes it's stupid mistakes, but most of the time it starts with the AI just being awful or some stupid things happening in the game. Like, all of a sudden, my intercept's not counting an opponent smacking me in the face. Like, Enchantress, not throwing a heavy attack, but landing 3 combos in my block. So on and so forth. And then I start to make the mistakes for the most part, because it gets to me. It's like, absolutely frustrates me. And I am speaking as somebody, who genuinely tries in Battlegrounds a lot and plays a fair amount. And if you're more casual player, and this happens, you just toss the game on the side and you kind of do it to get like the bare minimum rewards, get your 3 matches in every 2 days or something, and you just don't want to deal with that frustration. So the general game issues obviously play a part. But let's face it, nobody expects Kabam to solve them. Well, pretty much ever. Soon, if ever. Like, I have completely given up in the competence and capability in Kabam. I know that they're doing something eventually, and that they do resolve like a parry issue in 6 months, and then a new issue comes up, and then they resolve another issue in like 3 updates because the first 2 made the problem worse, and then they have to re-roll it. Eventually, they do get some of these things, but a lot of them are just an awful state. Next up, we do have BG specific issues. And here, obviously, a lot of opinions vary how to fix it. And mainly, I think, from the videos that I watch from other content creators, a lot of them also focus on like the very, very tippy top. For instance, the length of matchmaking when you are in like C5, high C5, C4, and C1. Realistically, I don't think that's what's driving people away from Battlegrounds. The matchmaking is annoying. Obviously, I hope the matchmaking length is annoying when you are relatively high in C5, and it affects me too. Quite often I do end up getting myself up to like top 20 spot, and you do get a lot of problems matchmaking. You end up waiting 5 minutes plus. But and when I used to do better in Battlegrounds a while back, even higher, it's worse. I have had streams when stream for an hour and a half and I get like 3 matches in. Can be very, very frustrating, but at large, that's not the mass population problem. That's a tippy top type of problem that still should be addressed by Kabam for top 50 spots or so, having to expand the match making algorithm. But matchmaking in general, like in victory decks everywhere, you do always get complaints about that, and I do not have perfect system there, because you cannot have small accounts only matching small accounts, for instance, because again, that would be unfair as well. But Kabam seemingly have completely stopped working in matchmaking, and if you are somebody who has like maybe one rank 3 and you can get matched against an account with full set of rank 3s, that will destroy one's will or motivation to play for sure. But that is something I think kind of comes with territory. I think Kabam can improve it, but it's never going to be perfect. But what Kabam can absolutely work better on is the game metas. As far as I understand, the game metas are basically not tested at all for Battlegrounds, and it's like the sole responsibility of a single person. And here's going to be the truth of it. Majority of the metas kind of suck. Like, you typically get about one fun, engaging, interesting meta that brings something new every 3 to 4 seasons. I'm absolutely not going to say all of the metas suck, because they don't. And I think about half of the metas are like tolerable. So if we, go in a cycle of 4 different metas, I think we get 1 that people generally like, 2 that are kind of shit but people can kind of tolerate, and 1 that's forcing people to rage quit. And that shouldn't be the case. We should at the very least have like 2 metas that people love and 2 metas that are like kind of fine. And that could easily be sorted if somebody actually playtested them through, if there were maybe more people devising these metas. If there wasn't one person in charge of them who absolutely hates Juggernaut and makes sure that he doesn't work in, 4 out of 5 metas. You know who I'm talking about. And that's definitely contributing, because if metas are made, and I'm not even talking about difficulty, but I'm going to use the word not particularly fun or enjoyable, that drives away people. Metas can be hard, but they also need to be, fresh, different. They need to make you want to play the game, not scream at the game and curse. And the last one specific is the BG glitches still, because we still get those from season 1. It's been a couple of years now with Battlegrounds, and at times Battlegrounds just auto drafts my first champion. Still, like, I start a match, my opponent is drafting 2 champions, and my champion has already been auto selected. Why? Don't know. Did I have any lag or any issues? Nope. It's just, I start a match and, I get a randomly drafted champion. It's not end of the world, but the fact that it still exists after people having reported that several years ago tells you quite a lot. And then obviously these, silly disconnects after you finish a fight, and the random time losses because of the connection issues, and people still losing like 10 seconds of a fight duration if they have a shittier phone. All of that still needs to be addressed, because the more of these BG specific glitches happen, again, that just adds to all the other frustration that's been piling up. And the last one is, for a concept to have been come out, and Battlegrounds again is a massive kind of like center of the game mode, it genuinely doesn't feel like Kabam is interested in game mode because they're not doing anything with it. Like, you know, we get alliance raids, which consistently get updated. We get, you know, every other game mode just about. Incursions. Every time incursions come around, Kabam changed up the hacks, changed up the champion pool in it, stuff like that. With Battlegrounds, Kabam's like, nah, fuck it, leave it as is. And I don't understand that. If Battlegrounds is meant to be the center of the game, Kabam should in fact be trying to improve it. And again, a lot of different ideas can come of this. Kabam can make, you know, a Battlegrounds sub-season, for instance, where you're only allowed X amount of matches and then you get the reward based on how many you want, for instance. Or they can try out different solo events relating to Battlegrounds. They can try out, I think Crystal Opening Whale talked about 2v2 Battlegrounds or something. Or they can try out different deck sizes, for instance, with different, you know, tiered rewards or something. I'm not saying all of those ideas are good. I'm not, you know, saying specifically they have to try out this or that. But there's a lot that they could be doing with the game mode, including with the rewards, for instance, you know, because again, C5 and even C6, there's a huge variance of people that get the same rewards. Maybe split them 10 by 10 by 10, kind of closer to the Alliance War, where you have Masters top 10 and Masters top 20. There's a lot that Kabam could be doing and should be doing, because again, Kabam positioned the entire game to kind of focus in on Battlegrounds as one of its core game modes. And out of all of the game modes, Battlegrounds is by far the one that has been abandoned by longest and by most. There's absolutely no new exciting changes or innovations coming to Battlegrounds, which sucks. So I really don't know. It genuinely feels like here Kabam has completely fallen asleep at the wheel, and you know, they're just gonna ride it out for as long as it goes. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know whether Kabam will do something on time. I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about